Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to people, depending on whatever time zone you guys are in. I think we have a strong presence from across most of Asia today. Good to see so many participants. Now, we'll be talking about crafting a brilliant omni-channel experience for customers, right? And we have panelists with us who are from different industries. We have people from OTT, retail, from fintech, different backgrounds, and they'll be sharing their experience with us on what it takes to create omni-channel strategy and how best to measure it, right? So let's start off with introductions first up. I'm Kunal. I head sales for MoEngage for India, Middle East, and Africa part of the business. And I'm here to moderate the panel today. Today, also on the panel, we have with us Brajesh from Marks & Spencer. Brajesh, if you can introduce yourself. You're on mute.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brajesh Rawat, and I had Omnichannel business for Marks & Spencer India. That's a brief about me, and then we can discuss later once we go along.
Absolutely. Mahendra Dhiraj.
Hi, everybody. First of all, thanks for having me on board. So I head the business analytics and consulting for GTech Digital Asia based out of Jakarta.
Right. Thank you. Paul, you're up next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paul, and I'm the head of marketing for Cashalo.
Awesome. We had a couple of more participants. Unfortunately, they had to drop out. Let's see if they can maybe join us in between. But let's get rolling, shall we?
Kunal, we have got Vani as well. Do you see her on the screen?
Not yet.
Hi, Vani. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Hey, Vani.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes. Hi.
Hey, Vani. Good to have you on board.
Thank you.
We were just getting started with the introductions. So if you could just quickly introduce yourself, your profile.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Vani Dixit. I work for Z5. As an occupationalist, I'm a consumer specialist with about 20 years of experience across banking, retail, and now OTT. So I really specialize in direct-to-consumer marketing.
Awesome. Cool. Good to have all of you on board with us to share your experience and learnings with all of us. There's, I think, about 300 of us who are listening in, tuned into panelists. Let's make it an interactive session for all of them. Right. Well, cool. So let's start off with the first question, right? And my first question to all of you panelists would be how to create a 360-degree view of the customer. What does it take to have a consumer-centric approach? And how do you create a 360-degree view? Vani, if we can start off with you first up.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So, at Z5, we totally, believe that, being consumer-centric at the DNA of the organization is the starting point. If everyone is thinking consumers, then the centricity will itself come into the process. And from a data perspective, we are very lucky. We are a fully digital company. We get to know all the footprints that happen when the consumer is navigating through different devices, through different platforms, and we are able to get those footprints and signals. And we are able to study them. We are able to kind of make sense and use them. We can very well use some real-time information as well. So therefore, of course, the cornerstone and the starting point of all of this is to build a consumer, a very, very strong, customer data platform. We invested much earlier into it. And, that building one view was also, I would say, is very agile process because as you start bringing in your new consumers and you start studying various trends, you start finding new signals, and that's a marketer's delight to find very little things if someone is say clicking and even adding say to a watch list in a Z5 context is a very big signal to define that is the engagement going to go up or not go up. So there are many such reasons or ways in which or a process, I would say, and it's a very ongoing process. While you build it at one go, you keep bettering it every day, with enhancing it, with better models, with better data, with better insights, better optimization. So yes, there's a lot that goes into building that, a good data platform.
Right. And from your experience of having worked across multiple industries, do you see that there's a difference when you work with a banking sector versus an OTT?
Yes, I think 180-degree difference. Different industries behave very differently. Their needs are very different. The way it is used is very different. The use cases are very different because banking, it's not like other than credit card, it's not really your debit cards or wallets. The transactional of the other part of the banking products is very low. There it is about loyalty, longevity, reading signals from such expenses to understand if, what is your share of wallet and what you are sort of doing. Whereas, in the OTT space, the signals are very there. The product is consumed there and then, because if there's a movie which is on a platform, it's either getting consumed there, the consumer is getting a great quality, of experience, is giving you feedback because the person has left it midway, doesn't like the content or something's going wrong. So it's very, very intuitive. It's very in the face. It's very high involvement. And it's very, very contextualized and very personal because it's very one-to-one, right, viewing ability. Whereas banking is also in a way a family thing. You're buying a car, so the family's involved, the decision making is involved. It's so much more. It's more household versus an individual thing. Having said that, yes, across industries, while these are different data forms, or the way you will study and how you will structure it would be different. But I think the underlying principle to drive growth using this information, of course, continues to remains the same. And like the reason why I moved and what I'm doing between my past work and now, it's pretty the fundamentals, the logics remain the same, that you want to engage your consumers as we go along, and what you need. And I would say that every not even industry, every company would have to have its own DNA to see how they want to slice and dice the consumers and how they want to look at it. I don't think so there's a standard pill which all of us can just take it and say this is the perfect model of consumer information. Each business decides for itself how it's going to look like, what their priorities are. For someone it could be acquisition, for someone it could be retention. So it's different for different people, and therefore that's something which has to be kept, and how it is closing to the business objectives or goals for that organization. That's how it would emerge.
Right. Thank you for that input. Mahendra, you're up next now. How is it that you're looking at a 360-degree view at PDG Tech?
Sure. Thanks, Kunal. So GTech, as you know, runs one of the largest lifestyle coalition loyalty in Indonesia, and also one of the largest branded e-commerce portals. So again, as economists says, data is the new oil. So with cloud computing scaling up, there's no shortage of data. But again, how do you use the data properly? So I think step one is about having a single view of multiple things. It's not just customer 360, I would say, but it could be product, it could be promotions. But at the end of the day, or even customer service, at the end of the day, you need to have a single unified view to actually go to the next level, to take the next step. Especially talking from a retailer who does both online and offline. I would say it's very important for a customer to have a seamless experience and to have or to ensure that or to give it back to the customer. It's very critical that you have a single unified view. To quote one of the articles which came a couple of years back, before a customer actually purchases, with the onset of all the social media, websites, internet, etc., a customer has a touch points of at least minimum 7 touch points before he actually converts. So if you look at the attribution itself, you see customer coming from multiple parts before he actually converts. So to give him the personalized experience, to give him a seamless joy or personalized joy, you need to have that unified profile. So a CDP layer, on top of any platform is very critical for any organization. A customer data platform where, it could be structured data like a transaction, or unstructured data like his browsing behavior, device, location, All this needs to be seamlessly unified into a single view to actually act on it and to give him the experience which he deserves. I think that's what I would say from a 360 view of the customer.
Right, interesting. Paul, at Cashalo, how are you looking at 360B?
So just to introduce what Cashalo is, it's a fintech platform that provides access to purpose-built financial services from loans and credit online to installments in both online and offline stores. So I've been here since the start, and we recently just turned 2, and we've served over 1 million customers. And for us, because we're in the lending space, having a 360-degree unified view of the customers, I guess I could say it's a given or really a hard requirement. It's really our foundation, and it's how we were built in the first place. For us, because we do lending in both the online and the offline space, similar to what Vani mentioned, it is our backbone, it is our DNA. Because it's not only being used for sales and marketing, it's the backbone for risk, for collections, for customer service, and it feeds into almost every aspect of our business. So it's the root to the trunk, and everything else just branches out from it. And that's how we see it.
All right. Interesting that you said it's the root to the trunk. Brajesh, at M&S India, how are you looking at a 360 view of a customer?
Hi, Kunal. So I'll take a step back, and if I have to look at as an M&S also, we are in 33 countries. We're in different journeys of digital commerce. Like countries like UK, we are getting more than 30% of digital business from overall retail. And in India, like we have just started. And in other country, purely we are not doing omni per se, we are doing only e-commerce or digital commerce only. Having said that, I think most of the things my fellow panelists have already covered. I will just take a step back and see actually why we have to do that omnichannel per se also. So the problem largely in Southeast Asia and including India was all the brands and retailers, because we were conventional brick and mortar retailers, we were seeing this as a different channel largely for liquidation or channel largely for giving more discounts. Inside of that, what was happened is my core offline customer, they felt cheated. Why somebody should be going to my offline store when the same full price merchandise which you're selling at the store is on discount on a marketplace or your own e-commerce companies. Secondly, what happened is any customer support which somebody was looking for and walking to the offline stores, largely retailers have stopped giving, because most of the retails is being still driven by franchisees in the country. So services like exchange, alterations, those were not there. And inside of that, we have actually, what we have done largely, we have done everything to destroy the brand only as a whole for the large problem what industry was facing it. Two things I see as a stepping stone to start the omnichannel journey, whether I am, and when I actually not a big fan of word omnichannel, because to me it's a channel-less. End of the day, we at M&S also strongly believe you happen to touch any touch point, whether you're coming to our e-com business or our stores, or maybe going to my channel partners, which is offline or marketplaces also. End of the day, we believe you coming for a brand, and so you are my customer first. So I need, in order to serve you, I need to do whatever I need to do. So inside of that, we see how we can serve you. In that, the first step is, can we bring a price parity across all the channels which we are delivering? And this is actually, I'm talking about fashion and lifestyle, because this is a very generic problem. Largely brands feel, hey, I have sold the inventory in outright to XYZ marketplace. Now, if they're discounting, it's not my problem because they are losing margin. And marketplaces were doing it because largely funded companies, they wanted to acquire customers. So they were doing, that's how they know their financial business better. But can I control my pricing, whichever channels I am doing it? Can I start believing whichever channel customer is touching, it's my customer? If I can do this too, this will be my stepping stone to start my e-commerce or omni-channel journey. That's what we are looking at. I mean, landing or OTT is probably a mature environment where we are seeing it, but retail and fashion and lifestyle is still journeying. We are just still evolving and seeing, okay, how I can use data for my pricing also. If I reduce pricing by 5%, what kind of sales we can bring in the business, or what else we can do. So right now, I am also focusing on the way we were doing earlier also, and I always keep telling to everyone within the business also, just start owning the customer, whichever channel they are going to. Bring the price parity. This is the stepping stone. Rest, everything can follow. And that's what I'm seeing it actually.
Interesting that you bring about the point of price parity. Right. Mahendra, now your organization is one of the largest, it owns one of the largest retail networks and provides a coalition loyalty program across 100 world-class brands, right? And you partner with brands like Mango, Lacoste, Samsonite, which operate at a different scale altogether, right? In your experience working with such big names, what are 3 to 4 biggest hurdles that you face in switching to an omni-channel strategy?
Thanks, Kunal. So I think, as you rightly mentioned, we work with almost 150 brands, including Marks and Spencer for Indonesia. So it was like, I agree with Brajesh about omni-channel, but yeah, I mean, the customer, having a seamless experience, whether it's whatever channel he comes from. So some of the challenges which, before going to that, I just want to quote again one metric, which is like, recently I came across a report that when you have a touch point of at least minimum 4, which is like, you could be seeing something in Facebook, then you go to your commerce portal, walk into a store, ultimately you convert, say, in the 4th one. So there is generally a 10% uplift in terms of your average basket value. So when you offer a customer a seamless experience, a connected experience. So that's where I wanted to start with. So basically we try to solve this problem. I mean, we have been trying to, like, again, I just want to quote Brajesh that we are in a journey. We just started. I mean, we are in progress in terms of scaling it up and improving it. But some of the issues which I wanted to quote, one, it has to be a top-down approach. It's not about cannibalizing online or offline sales. At the end of the day, it's about having a seamless experience. It should be, it's not about price war or something here. So the first thing you need to have is from a top-down approach of any management. It has to be, for example, you're in an offline store, you fulfill an order from a store. You need to incentivize the store staff. It's not just for a walk-in customer. It should be even for an online purchase. So that has to come into the DNA of the organization, that whether a customer buys a product, whether walking into a store or through a marketplace, through a branded site, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you're shipping a product or a click and buy, buy online, pick up in store, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if a store staff is fulfilling that order, you need to, kind of incentivize the store staff. Similarly, it goes to the merchandiser, to the operations team. So across the organization, we have to see it as a customer engagement. That's it. We should not look at a channel per se. So that has to be, so changing the DNA, especially if it's an organization which is very big, it takes time. It has to come from top down. So that's one of the first things I would say, as a challenge when an organization tries to move to an omni-channel platform. Second, of course, and I think we already covered in the data part, where data is in silos. Like every business unit will have its own metrics to work for, or it works at times. It's very disjoint. So it has to come together to give a unified experience to the customer. The third would be like when you talk about omni-channel, like for example, the e-commerce portal Mappy Mall, which our platform supports. It is connected to say 300 plus stores across Indonesia, and very soon it will be rolled out to almost 1,000 plus stores across Indonesia. So it's like I would say the logistics part has to be mature enough to support such an omni-channel fulfillment. Like a customer order, say from Bali, our platform supports, it has to be shipped from Bali, but it is not really about packing it in a store. You need to have the 3PL support. You need to have the logistics support to do the last mile as well. And similarly, from a fintech perspective, it has to be mature enough to support multiple kinds of payments. So in Indonesia, if you see over the last, say, 2 to 3 years, there has been significant development when it comes to logistics and the fintech sector, which is actually, and also of course cloud computing. The 3 things I think has actually catapulted the whole omni-channel experience, or the option of a brand like say MAP to offer a seamless omni-channel experience for the customer. And Last but not the least, when you talk about fashion, like you have to take the dynamics of the business. It's like it's very wide, but the depth of inventory is very shallow. So when you are trying to, have an omnichannel experience, like the store inventory is shown online, across marketplaces. So when the depth is low, there is always a risk of multiple people buying the same product. So unless you have the system which has a near real-time sync across, so that you ensure that the customer is satisfied, we are not giving a bad experience to the customer. So the critical thing here is the technology, the connectivity, and apart from the logistics, which I was talking to about. And last but not the least is the communication and the marketing part. Where it should not be cluttered. It should not be like all around. There has to be a unified communication to the customer. When you offer, whether it is online, offline, it should not be separate. Like for the same, a footwear, you should not have a separate campaign for offline, separate for online. No, it should be a unified, single communication to the customer, so that he or she is not confused at the end of the day. So I think that's it from my side on the issues, I would say.
Right. And I think the answers to one of our polls are just out. And one of the biggest things that all our viewers believe is this is a different one, right? Okay, somebody threw up wrong results in front of me. I believe personalization is experience personalization is one of the challenges and the key to delivering the right customer experience. How much do you believe in that? Is experience personalization greater than data unification, or are they like part of the same story?
Is that to me?
Yeah, that's for you. That's for you.
Okay. So I think the step one about experience personalization is about data unification. Unless you have that single view of the customer, you will not be able to personalize. Like a customer walks into a store, buys a sports footwear today, day after tomorrow he goes to a Starbucks, buys a coffee. At the end of the day, or he goes online and buys one of our brands. So at the end of the day, if you're not able to connect all these things together to the same customer, it will not be possible to kind of give him a personalized experience. If you even whatever machine learning, AI, which is jargons which are exploited these days, but unless you have a good data, it is like garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you don't have a clean, proper data going into the single view of the customer, it will not be able to. You will not be able to personalize it in the right manner. So yes, to answer to your question, personalization starts with data unification.
All right. Vani, my next question will be to you. You're in a very crowded space, right? I believe there are some 90 odd OTT applications in India, vertical, horizontal, everything combined. That means you're literally fighting for your audience attention every time you're reaching out to them. Now, what is the strategy that you apply to make sure that you get maximum share of voice from them?
Right. Yeah, so I think that's an interesting question, Kunal, because that is our everyday marketing problem, so to say, right? To keep the loyalty scores going up. And how I define this is something, which is called internally, which is called UPO. And, one part of it is the unified segmentation part of it, right? Which is where, whichever channel the consumer is experiencing you, he's or she's seeing the same of you, right? And that helps you make it even more deeper in terms of understanding, in terms of the user. And therefore, it doesn't matter if the user is or the consumer is viewing you on a smart TV or on an app or a web. If we know that it is Kunal who's onto the platform, then these are the preferences that Kunal has, and this is what the person, you're likely to sort of watch. So that's like the first part of it, right? The second part of it is personalization. And when I'm saying personalization, especially in content, for us, it becomes very imperative because, we have a huge library, like 500 movies and like 900 lakhs and hours of content. What each one of us would like at what point of time and, what factors influence that is very important, because the same person could be watching different things at different points of time, or, could be having a different mood for different kind of content, movies or original content or music or news, depending on what is happening in the outside world and inside worlds, right? So therefore, how do we bring the whole idea of contextualizing it and making it is equal to one, right, for the consumer? That's the second part of it. And when I'm talking about personalization, I'm not only talking about the platform personalization, but how do you take those insights back onto your organic channels or paid channels or whatever. So if, for example, you are a thrill seeker and we've released a new, original, what we've released, Mafia right now, right? And we've released this new show and we would like, to promote it to you. Then when you are on a platform, we will show it to you. When you get a, email conversation or a notification, or you're on a Facebook or a Google, on our platform, or you're, are privy to such advertising which is happening on these channels, paid channels, you will see all of it at one go. We will go with one single message, which is Mafia. And why that show? Because you are a thrill seeker, which has come from data, which is what I'm calling unified segmentation. So that's very important, right? That it is from platform to consumption. You're not confusing the user that, today I'm talking about thrill to you, tomorrow romance. Yes, when in your life stage, you're featuring where to view what, definitely, as a consumer, you would do. The third part is optimization, right? How much and when, how much should I sell you a particular genre, a particular movie, and how much you want to hear from me. And when I'm saying that, it's in two forms. One is, of course, what creative are you reacting to, right? Which is, if even if it's thrill seeking, would you like a gory all blood kind of a messaging? Would you like a racy messaging? Is it about fandom? Because you start, if there's a big hero which is getting promoted and, you are a fan of, celebrities. So there are different things that kind of go into optimization to see that, it's the right, to the right user, the right product, which is content in our case, all right, through the right messaging, what should I say, messaging language in terms of our creatives and communication, and also through the right channel. If you are more receptive, on say a push notification, then I should reach out to you by that. And if you're more receptive, to emails, then I will reach out to you on that. So different users behave differently, and therefore, these are the three guiding principles, I would say, which is unified segmentation, which is personalization, which is optimization, which are kind of, set the whole game going on this one. And, help us go back and retain, gain loyalty for our consumers, because, a lot is also a problem, right? Then you don't know which one. Too many choices also confuse the consumer, right? When you've got the pulse and you know that, okay, this is what I want to watch, and the first banner you see when you launch the app, this is the one I want. Or even when you get a message, say, oh yeah, I'm a thrill lover and I've got this, and there's this show on thrill coming on Z5, let me go and watch. So that resonance, that when it's my thrill requirement, Z5 understands me and sending me that, and not a cry soapy soap, which is of no interest to you. So Z5 keeps doing stuff which is not relevant to me. So I think that's the kind of, the end goal for the consumer is to feel contextualized, to feel, that Z5 understands, and we're able to convert very quickly and retain, because you know that when you will come onto our platform, you'll find stuff which is relevant to you, which is for you, to your taste. And we are not just showing what we want to show you. Just because we launch a big movie, we want to show you that. Maybe that's not the genre you're interested in, so we will not show you. Maybe we'll show you something which is a very old show because you're into classics. So, that's very important because it's very one-on-one, and when the consumer, when we're interacting with us, and that's really like the underlying sort of a theme to our growth and retention strategy.
And I must say, I'm one of those customers who gets really confused when I see so many movies being popped up. Always difficult. And I always go back watching the same movies that I've seen, never discovering new content. It's too difficult.
I can understand.
Right. But my question as a follow-up to the previous one would be, what channels are the most effective ones for you? I understand that, you are mobile heavy. So is push the most effective channel for you? And also the fact that, a lot of customers find push notifications annoying, right? So they turn off their push notifications. What is the fallback mechanism to that?
Sure. So, yes, I would say that channel is considered what the consumer is receptive to, right? It is not a choice. It's simple. You have to be where the consumer is. That's not a choice that as marketers we can make, or to say, no, I will reach out only on a push, or I will reach out on a particular format. All the channels are available. Where the user is consuming you is where you have to be. All right. So that's not like kind of the first choice you are making. It's the consumer. Because if, as you said, if I switched off my notification, there's no way, even if I'm desperate to reach out to a notification to you, I'm going to reach out to you. And therefore, it is the consumer who's making the choice. I'll give you an example of, for example, of smart TV users, right? And especially in the COVID times, the last 4 months, we've seen a lot of people come onto, smart TV consumption because, they're watching the TV and they're home, so they want to consume it on the big, a platform. The Wi-Fi is available, and now these are the users who are unlikely to even have your app, right? Right, and that's the time when you would probably reach out to them in the most engaged manner through an email, for example, right? Which would, and we've seen that it works very well for our smart TV users, where they like to interact because they can see a lot more contextualized. Again, the logic of UTO, you're kind of so knowing that what are the different conversations or the content coming on Z5, and one is able to engage them far more. So that's one thing. The second is, of course, for the active people who are there. I mean, nothing like on platform discovery, right? And there are interventions which we do right on the platform, right? For the user, it would be very seamless. You come, you're experiencing, but there will be nudges which will come to you, and which are, yes, sometimes intrusive. We are trying to bring it to being less intrusive. Yes, and that's also a big part of the whole program, because if you're already on the platform and we are able to direct you to a certain content which could be of importance to you, or say news, which was such a big news today, right? The PMO was all over media, and we'll give you a small nudge that if you want to see it because you're already on the platform, do check it out. And we see people experiencing this, especially in case of content which is not so time sort of driven. And so that's very important, which is on platform engagement, which is there. Emails plays equally important role. We use mobile text as well, which is in a very limited form, which is people who are unable to kind of reach out to these two platforms. And what we've seen is, as compared to, so of course, it works very well when you want your subscribers to come back, because they get like an alert, this is a subscription to you want to come back and things like that, or there's an offer. SMSs work really well. But really, they're a very visual medium. We always want the users to come to our content page or to view, because you see the star. There's only that much we can say in 4 lines, right? So you want people to see the images, to get to know the users. And push notification, of course, is the bread and butter. There's no doubt about it. We are a mobile heavy platform, and we work a lot to build good science behind how do we kind of increase our reachability with respect to that. And also, because we have a unified segment, we are also able to take this on our performance channels, which is Facebook and Google, and and are able to showcase there as well, which also gives a very, very good response. Especially when new shows are launching, or we want to bring back the users for something specific. So different strokes for different folks, and there's always an audience who, every time you send a notification, will definitely click, and there would be some who switch you off. So you have to live with that.
Absolutely. Brajesh, as the e-commerce head for Marks and Spencer's, right? What are some of the KPIs that you think are rightly justified, and for against which you want to measure the performance of any omnichannel marketing platform or communication that you send out?
Well, apart from RFM, recency, frequency, and monitoring, I like to see a single view of customer to understand what exactly my customer is doing within our ecosystem, so that we can personalize their journey with the brand. So the KPI which I would like to monitor is which channel customer is using the most, whether they are coming to my offline stores or they are there with my e-commerce. within the offline also, which is their favorite region they're looking to shop for. So that helped me actually to give a geo-targeting kind of a campaign, offers or promotions, or so to say, a very small information in the current time. What is the store operating times and days? Because right now those are also very fluid in nature. Third is I like to see what is the customer purchase behavior across channel. What you like to buy as a customer offline and online. For an example, are you looking to buy fashion, which is the new season product or merchandise from offline, or you're buying a repeat purchases like lingerie or beauty from an online channel? What are your purchase patterns? Are you a discount lover, or you're looking for buying new season merchandise, or are you actually buying a very specific categories from us all the time? So I can engage you accordingly. Another is how much I'm able to cross-sell with you. So cross-sell doing from online to online is relatively easier, but given an example, something like you bought a jacket from one of the stores. Now, can I send you a personalized mailer following day saying that, hey, probably you missed this trouser. Why don't you buy this trouser so that you can complete the entire look of his suit, which can go for some formal occasion. Those kind of things, because in all likelihood, my customer is not going to come back within 30 days back to my offline store. So how actually I can cross-sell? Can I seek the opportunity to do some cross-sell and increase my wallet share from there? Which channel you actually respond to? Are you active on SMS or push notifications, mailers, or you are actually widely on social? I need to like to see that also. And last, not the least, like what kind of campaigns you react to. When I'm sending you offers, you're reacting to that, or end of season sale, or new product launch, or when some celebrity endorsing us. So what triggers you to do something, some activation within our ecosystem of the business? So these are the large KPIs which I like to monitor with my customer journey.
Right. And I believe because you have such a large presence in the offline segment, and the online segment for you is relatively new, right? So your dependence on technology is going to be even greater. What sort of technology are you deploying to migrate customers from offline to online? Or are you looking at these as two different set of customer sets? You know, those who predominantly buy offline, those who buy predominantly online. And are you segregating them?
No, so largely, as I said earlier, it's a single view of customer for me. So yes, the first intent is to go and grab a more share pie, a young customer or audience where we don't have a physical presence. Can I actually reach out to you? I mean, despite of the fact we are there in the country from last 10 years, my presence is only in largely in 30 cities. Now, within that cities also, there are a lot of pockets, or within the geographies also. Give an example, let's say within Karnataka, I see from my e-com, I get a lot of customers from places like Shimoga or within Northeast Imphal. Now, I don't have a stores there. Probably I will not be able to open the stores in these cities for next 5 years. So how I can actually serve those customers in those pockets, that's number one. That actually helped me to increase my customer base. Another is using the same database or the same customer base, how I can increase the frequency for their purchases also. That is also one thing which I look at. Coming back to technology, so I mean, yes, I mean, we are fairly advanced in what kind of tech stack we are using it. But if you're asking this, are you asking this for specifically what we are using it, or what we should be using it as a brand or as a retailer?
Generic answer. I wouldn't want to know what you as a brand is using, but say what an industry level use case.
In that case, I mean, there are, I mean, if I have to look at for the automation, marketing automation, probably there are thousands of tools which are available. Every second day I get some of the other mailers saying that, hey, we are the best, we are the cheapest, and we are the only one who can solve your problems, all the pain points. And maybe that's right. As a product or as a vendor, what you're offering or you're claiming it, it's completely true. I'm not denying with that fact. However, I need to see few things. Is it your product is really right for me or not? Very simple thing, what kind of budget we are looking at. Now, the kind of budget will come from what kind of business scale I'm looking at or I'm projecting for next few years to look for. Probably I'm investing it today, but whatever investments going behind from a technology, that should solve my problem at least for 24 to 36 months. That is one. What kind of scale I have, that will reflect what kind of budget I can have it. Integrations are very important things. So why existing tech stack, whatever product I am choosing it, will I able to get integrate with that also? Thirdly, what kind of features I am getting it from this, hypothetically or not hypothetically also in the reality, like a lot of customers and fashion forward business are on Insta now. A lot of marketing automation tool doesn't have a feature where you can actually get seamlessly integrated with Insta on a native feature. So that is also one thing to look at. Another would be how easy your platform is in terms of if I'm the end user, can I actually use your platform effortlessly? Your UI is intuitive enough or not? Will I able to get information which hypothetically kind of a drill down which I can get it, or I need to probably toggle from one screen to another to get one information, and then it will be difficult also. How easy it's set up? If I have to choose some product, how easy to set up and onboarding it? And last is not least, what is your after sales service or support you can provide to me? These are the things which probably I will look at.
Thank you so very much for those answers. Paul, our last question would be to you, right? As the head of marketing at Cashalo, and we know that you're one of the trusted fintech platforms in the Philippines and the largest one out there. How do you leverage customer segmentation data to identify, understand, and meet each of your customers' requirements?
Yeah, so being a financial platform, a technology platform, and most especially a mobile app that offers loans, on the question of collecting and enriching customer data, we collect so many data at the start of the relationship, right? Through the loan applications we receive, initially to allow us to do risk assessment. And in terms of leveraging this data, we have certain pricing mechanisms based on certain levels of risk identified from the data that we collect. For example, like most of our customers here in the Philippines, they're completely new to this digital or online way of borrowing money, right? We are very an underserved or underbanked market, and so we could offer you maybe something small just to start. Then once you proceed to show us good credit behavior, we'll offer you something higher and higher and at a much cheaper rate as the individual risk balances itself out. In terms of differentiation and actual segmentation, using the data that the customers input and the behavior that they show, we put certain tags and certain values across certain milestones. So then we create multiple segments based on permutations of these tags and these values, each with different messaging, pricing, and the product being offered. So a specific example would be our country is experiencing one of the strictest and longest lockdowns in the entire world. With the economic downturn, there's a strong probability that some of our customers might not be able to pay us back, right? But if they do, and even during this very strict lockdown, we're now putting a really high value to that milestone and categorizing these customers definitely as our best customers because they went out of their way just to pay you back. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not very unique, but it's really how we designed it from the start.
All right, great. Thanks so much, Paul. Unfortunately, we're running short on time, so we'll just quickly take questions from the audience. So the first question is from Abbas. What are the best practices to build omnichannel strategy for B2B product like fleet management system? Whoa, who wants to have a go at this? They're testing us, huh? Mahendra, do you want to try out?
Sure. Best practices to build omnichannel strategy for B2B product like a fleet management system. So I think one of the key things for this B2B fleet management system, since you have mentioned that, would be how nimble and how easy it will be to integrate to an existing platform. Like suppose we want to integrate with a fleet management system. One, how scalable is it? What kind of volumes can it handle? Second, how easy is it to integrate with the existing platform? Because you might already have an entire end-to-end store, including an order management system, a shipping station, etc. But how do you integrate your fleet management system with the entity? So I think broadly, to summarize, I think it's about scalability, it's about flexibility, and how easy is it to integrate. And maybe last but not the least would be where is it hosted? Because now data is the key. So there is a high chance that some of the data points may not go out. Like fleet means you need to have address, you need to have phone number, PII data is there. So we might not want to host it outside, say, for example, I'm from Indonesia, so not outside Indonesia. So those are some of the things which might be taken into account when you talk about a FMS for B2B.
Right. Brajesh, there's a question for you. During this pandemic situation, we see even global fashion brands are taking the most negative impacted by the situation. Since people are prioritizing on the essential needs, how does Marks and Spencer keeps engaging with end users, be it offline and online channels, and at the same time still drive transactions? Any changes in strategy than the standard that you guys have done before? You're on mute.
Okay, let me just read the question. Just allow me for a minute.
Sure.
Well, it's a no doubt. I mean, customers are looking for addressing essentials only at this point of a time. I mean, and I keep telling to everyone since the beginning, I mean, let's say for all of us also, if we stop buying any apparel as of today, you have enough in your wardrobe. So you can survive for next at least 5 years, if not 10 years. I always keep saying 10 years, but so it's a very aspirational category where we have a play. Not necessarily you need to go out and buy just like grocery and other categories to look at. Having said that, few categories for us also comes under. So there is to answer that also. Yes, I mean during the station there, if I like the last question which you're asking, the strategy change. I mean yes, I mean we are also tweaking the offering what we are giving to the customer. Formal wear is no more in the vogue because most of us is not going to office. People are doing from work from homes and all. So few categories are definitely taking a hit, which is a tailored clothing and so on and so forth. We are seeing the spike in other categories. Lingerie per se is a very big category for us globally, and that has gone multifold for us as a business. Same for kids wear also, and the casual and loungewear and the comfort wear section within the each BUs, what we call business unit, we call it, whether it's a men's wear, women's wear, and kids wear. So going forward also for coming seasons also, we are tweaking our offerings, which is a little align of what the traction we are seeing as of today also. Specifically for India, we were little prepared because the unlock, there are few countries in Europe which never went on lockdown, and or the few countries which were there where the lockdown happened for a very short time. And we had a good share of learning from those countries, and we were little prepared, unlike other brands who are very regional centric. And we were able to tweak our certain offerings earlier as well. That's what, in a short, we are doing it. Net, yes. I mean, the current situation is tough. Everybody is taking hit on top line. I mean, there is no denying about that. But I mean, probably this is I see it, this is an opportunity where people who, as a brand and the business, those who didn't have much leverage and their balance sheet was strong, they are actually going to grab opportunities to grow the business faster also, whether it's offline and online.
Right.
Paul, a question for you. Can you discuss what are the strategies you have undertaken for using omni-channel communication to boost repayment in your lending app?
Repayment. Yeah, so it's a combination of definitely marketing and the collections team, right? Because the lending business is really more than half of that is a collections business. But in terms of omni-channel, definitely it's using up all this data that you have in order to make sure that your predictions on when they are most likely to repay, when and where they are most likely to repay. You're using that data to push them to certain particular channels where they can actually repay. Like, for example, if we find out that you have access to online channels, that's the only message that I will push to you. That you can actually repay through your online channels, through the local country wallets that we have here, like GCash and PayMaya. So it's really a collaboration between the marketing team and the collections team, and using and leveraging all that data that you have on the customer in order to better this the collections campaign, because we do technically have collections campaigns as well, not just push campaigns to get them to apply for loans. So it's a collaboration between the two, and leveraging all this data that you have in order to be able to lead them to the best place that they can actually pay back the loans.
All right. Vani, the last question would be to you from
Sure.
the question to you is it wise to segment a low base basis their language or genre? A base as low as 10,000 active users specifically, when you also have limitation on the content available on your app compared to other OTT players in the industry?
Okay. The simple answer is yes. It absolutely makes sense to segment your consumers, but the end goal should be your strategy being at an N is equal to one consumer. And that's really the end goal should be. Doesn't matter it's 10,000 or 10 million, and they will grow over a period of time. So as the time will grow, you will learn more and more about your consumers. You can choose the treatment. And to my previous example, if Kunal is a thrill seeker and I'm going to try and sell romance to him, anyway, it's not going to work, right? And he is not going to come on the platform and watch it, right? So even if you keep sending me stuff while you don't have enough and trying to sell me other things, it will not really help, right? Unless it's a nearby show or it's nearby genre, which you're kind of doing, is already consuming. On the language part of it, absolutely essential, because you have to speak in the language in the consumer speaks. Like at Z5 we talk to our consumer in about 13 different languages, and that's the starting point. And also we have regional content, we can do it, but even from a UX UI perspective, right, a lot of people, and in fact a good chunk of 40% people like to use non-English UX UI, which is when your app appears, you want it in Hindi or English or Marathi or Telugu, Tamil, whatever the Indian languages are. So it's very important to keep that essence going in your strategy, because as your organization will grow bigger, you learn. And also it will be a good starting point to see that how many users are coming, say, from a particular genre or a language, and do you have enough from there? So that could also be an input into your content strategy. And the number of users you have, you could marry with the kind of content which you're going to bring in the next fortnight or whatever the game plan is. So it is not really about a marketing problem to solve. It can also go into your content. You can prioritize the UX UI projects using this. Then there's certain audiences that are coming in. You can optimize your performance marketing monies to kind of bring the whole story up. So I would say go for it, even if it's less audience, doesn't matter. Go for it, and you start treating it, and you start getting response over time. It'll help you when your organization grows.
Right. A follow-up question to this is, how do you plan to retain incremental DAUs that came due to virtue of lockdown?
Yes, it's a challenge. We are also, and we've put some game plan together. And so there are two kinds of users, right, who would come in, who stayed with you during the lockdown, right, because of the content, and they're kind of turning into loyalists because they continue to kind of hang around with you. And then there are certain audiences who probably came only for a select movie or content, and they don't want to come back to you. So we are building our content pipeline in such a way that we are able to engage and bring back such users. So, like we had quite a few like movie releases during this time. We are seeing what taste clusters those were, where the consumers were resting there, and how do we bring more content to get them excited. If that is the kind of content they like, because that's the product we're selling. And if we don't have enough content for this audience, which is also including our library content, but I'm saying it's not only about bringing the old one, but library content, do we have enough to engage these users to come back? So it's basically, the taste cluster marrying into, do we have enough to talk about, and then optimizing to say, are we talking the right language to our consumer to bring them back? So the pillars remain the same, and we are just building differentiated communication strategy, so to say.
Right. Thanks so much, Vani, and thanks Mahendra, Brajesh, Paul as well for joining us in for this session today. I hope the attendees also learned a lot from you and what you're doing in your businesses, and are able to replicate some of your learnings in their own businesses.